What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about this Quiet Place game. So I didn't think, I'd wake up today seeing this game exist, but here we are. And I do want to take the angle, if the game's gonna suck, and I don't want to come across immediately negative, so I'm gonna try not to, even though maybe I already have. One thing to say, right off the back, is that Illogica, the ones that are making them, that's making this game, is actually a pretty solid developer. They've helped make / they've made some pretty good games across the board. Like, they've made battle royale games like that Hyperscape from Ubisoft. Now, that game isn't very popular, and that game kind of died the day it came out, but actually, from what I've seen and heard about it, people kind of liked it, the ones that actually played it. So, and they've made Go games, Lara Croft Go, Hitman Go, so they've actually done quite a bit of different stuff, which makes me happy, because when I first kind of saw this, and we'll talk about some of the reasons I think could be a negative, that immediately comes off that way. But then it's like, well, all right, you know what, maybe it's okay. So I guess the first thing to note is what this game is. It's a game set in a Quiet Places universe, and it's not based off of, it's not a movie tie-in game where it's literally going to be doing the movies again or anything like that. It's a new single-player, story-driven horror adventure. Long description of it, but that's what they're calling it. And it's set to release next year in 2022. Now, the issue with this, I guess the positive is it's not like a one-to-one, you know what I mean? So it's not something that, it could be like a Fast and Furious Crossroads where we don't exactly know. But here's the thing. So the game releases next year. That's great and all. Like, we'll be able to see it relatively soon. But the issue is, how long have they been working on this game? The first Quiet Place movie released in April 6, 2018. So, from the time the movie came out to the time that the game is coming out, let's say 4 years. I highly doubt that the game was in development the first year, the very first year that this, or I guess when the movie released. They probably waited at least another year and a half. I'd love to know when they started working on it, and I'd also love to hopefully know, or I guess be assured that, like, the entire team is working on it, because one game, I do go back to is that Fast and Furious Crossroads, and that was a game, from what I understand, number one, they really had no talent. Now, I'm not saying the people now, that we're working on, I hope that they get future gigs and jobs, and I hope they do a really good job. But the people that were working on that game were inexperienced. They had no idea what they were doing, and it was rushed, just like all of those games tend to be rushed. Very, very short development time, all of that stuff. So and that oftentimes contributes to those games being, even like the Jumanji game. Like, that's what, contributes to those games being absolute garbage. So the fact is, this is being published by, I believe, Saber Interactive, which are the makers of World War Z, which are solid games. I guess another thing, too, is, like, we're not dealing with, like, this isn't like I don't know, because then I'm going to make people mad from, like, console wars, but this isn't like a Sony thing or a Microsoft thing where, like, you can maybe be assured that there's, like, a lot of quality behind it. This is, like, one of the middle / lower middle tier things out there, you know what I mean? Now, again, looking up the developer does make me more happy about it and more, like, I guess, willing to wait, because the people are going to say, well, Alex, nobody's seen literally anything, and I do agree. It's just basically what we know. For some reason, these things have made a comeback, and I will say that, I don't like that we're going back to, for some reason, we had the era of all these movie tie-in games, and then we left that era for probably like 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Like, we did as an industry, they did a really good job of just staying away, but then all of a sudden, over the past couple of years, the past maybe 3 or so years, they've come back, and I don't know who in God's name is buying these products, but they're back, and I guess that's maybe what worries me. There's nothing inherently wrong with doing something like this, and I do think there's actually a market. You look at, like, the Marvel stuff. Now, Marvel, you could argue where they're doing it based off of comics or based off of lore. They don't have to even necessarily mess with the movies. Same thing with DC. But you could. I mean, if you wanted to do, I don't know, if you wanted to take your jab at Batman versus Superman the game, like, you could, but I mean, what would end up probably happening is, again, you would make the game in 9 months and you'd release it and it would be absolute garbage, right? That's just generally how it is. So there's nothing inherently bad about it. It's just, how it tends to play out. So look, I really loved the first movie. I thought the second one was pretty much the exact same thing as the first movie, so I didn't like it nearly as much, but it's a great universe. It's a great universe, and I think the idea of sound and these creatures, that can prey off of that, I think that would do an amazing, I mean, literally, they're kind of like clickers in a way. I think it would be really fun to see a game, like that. But again, I don't know, do they have the full team working on it? Are these guys experienced? Because one thing I do think is worth noting is if this is supposed to be considered like a AAA, like a top-tier game, they've never really done that. They've made mobile games, they've helped with stuff, they've done stuff in different genres, but they've never, you know what I mean? Like, if this is a AAA, it took them 3 years, this cost them, $50, $60, $70 million budget to make this. Like, this is a big deal. They've never done that before. So inexperience is a thing, you have to make sure you understand or just realize that could be happening here. So I don't know. Obviously, we need to see it, and I do think when we see it, we'll have a very good indication of at least like which way we're going. Like, does this stand a chance, or is this like, does this look like Fast and Furious Crossroads? And by the way, I'm a huge Fast and Furious fan. I'm so disappointed that game even exists in the first place. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me on any of my social media, I have a Twitter, I have a second channel. We also have Patreon and YouTube memberships if you guys want to support us in any of those places. Links are in the description below. Thank you for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you all on the next video.